Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Hey, maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants here. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos beach, and the El Dorado Restaurant and Beach Club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor, for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week I have a very special guest talking about romantic from the very romantic restaurant in Puerto Vallarta, Chef Thierry Blouet from Café Des Artistes. But first, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 25th of January, 2019. The Charros are coming. Now, it's not National Charro Day, you guys, but that's September the 14th here in Mexico, but it's the International Charro Championship. Let's read from the Facebook page of Arena Vallarta. It reads, the 8th International Charro Championship will be held at the Arena Vallarta from the 30th of January to the 3rd of February, with the participation of the best charro teams in Mexico and the United States, and escaramuzas, which are charro ladies tournament, live music throughout the event, and the expected new car raffle. Oh, hey, they're going to have a new car raffle, you guys, on Sunday the 3rd. Maybe you get yourself a brand new car, you guys. Among the attendees, you show your paid ticket in hand, and you might win a car. There's food and drinks available throughout the event, a variety of Mexican snacks, seafood, and regional dishes. It is 100% family-friendly, folks. It's secure, with handicap access as well, and even a children's playground with staff that will take care of them while you drink. That will take care of them while you are busy checking out the charros. If you're not familiar with charros are beautiful, fashionable horsemen and women who do wonders on the back of these beautiful horses. They are incredibly so festooned with all their beautiful wares. So you've got to see these people in action, and you can do that too. They're going to have a craft sale. It's available there. Unique accessories for the charreria and memories of the event will be there. They're going to have lots of clean bathrooms, lots of parking, public transportation, and safety throughout the event, they say. You can see the full schedule, and I have a link to that in the show notes for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. You'll find their Facebook page and more. So go there. And by the way, I checked out Uber fare is approximately $18 US each way from the downtown area to Arena Vallarta. So use an Uber and get a ride back from a local in the back of their pickup truck, right? Just like the old days. You know, that reminds me about a couple of things that I found myself doing that I never thought that I would be doing in Mexico, let alone in Puerto Vallarta at my age. Anyway, I'll hold that story for a bit. What? You want to hear the story? All right. I was doing an interview with our next guest, who is Edgar Rivas. And Edgar is the Aguachile guy. You'll hear from him just a little bit. So I did this interview with him, and I was sitting enjoying the music of Los Tres Cuartos. We're playing over at the El Rio Barbecue. That's where I met with JR as well. And we're enjoying a little bit of music, and my phone rings, and it's my wife, and she's mad. I look down, and it's almost 5 o'clock, and she says, we have reservations for Café Des Artistes, and we're going to be leaving in an hour. I hope you can make it. And I'm going, So I look around to my friends. I say, I got to get out of here, pals. So I walk out, paid my bill, walked out to the front, and, hoping that maybe I'd be able to catch a bus that would take me down the hill and into town. And then I would be able to catch a, either an Uber ride or a taxi ride up to Conchas Chinas, to where the Airbnb was, and where my family was all ticked off, waiting for me to show up. So we go to this fancy dinner. So anyway, I walk outdoors. I walk outside of El Rio, and the guy standing out there said, you just missed the bus. You're not going to see another bus for another 15 minutes. And at that time, the place was starting to unload. People were getting out, and they were taking taxis, and I knew I was never going to get down that hill. So I start heading down the street. I'm hoofing it, and all of a sudden, pulling up next to me is Edgar on his motor scooter. He looks at me and says, need a ride? I'm all, really? I'm looking at this thing. He says, yeah. So he reaches back, and he takes down the little feet pegs behind him, says, hop on. Now, I'm like 200 pounds. Edgar's like, I don't know, maybe 150. And I get on this thing, and I'm going, is this really going to go all the way down the hill? And sure enough, of course, he had a helmet. I didn't. I had short pants, and I felt very exposed, but down we go through Paso Ancho on the back of a motor scooter, going, between the topos so we don't go do the bumpity bump, all the way down to the Libramiento, holding on for dear life. I had no plan whatsoever to be on the back of a motor scooter, I got to tell you, but I was. I thanked Edgar very much, and hopped into a cab, and I was back in Conchas Chinas in 15 minutes. And then, of course, get dressed, and then off to Café Des Artistes. So I made it. Thank you, Edgar, for doing that. And as long as we're talking about that, let's talk about the Aguachile Festival, the Aguachile and Ceviche Festival, which is happening this weekend, Sunday the 27th, in Puerto Vallarta. So let's go right now to El Rio Barbecue, where we were listening to that live music, and let's let Edgar fill us in on what's happening this coming Sunday. All right, I finally get a chance to meet Edgar in person. Edgar, how you doing? Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks to you, Barry. It's a pleasure to meet you too, also in person, finally here in Puerto Vallarta, after many interviews by internet, but finally I met you here in person.
Yeah, look,
welcome,
we're going to actually have some good audio, and we've got a great band playing in the background. We got Los Tres Cuartos playing in the background.
Tres Cuartos band, rock band. Yeah, that's right. We are having a good background.
Yeah, good background music. Okay, so look, tell us a little bit about. We're coming up on the Ceviche and Aguachile Festival.
Exactly. It's going to be the 7th edition of the Ceviche and Aguachile Festival. And it's coming now for the last Sunday of January, Sunday the 27th.
Okay.
And well, we're very excited because on this edition we're having new restaurants than the last editions. So basically we're having like 7 new restaurants at this time. So it's a good news for me as the organizer because it shows the interest from the restaurants around the bay, because we have restaurants from Puerto Vallarta, of course, Bucerias, La Cruz de Guanacaste, and one coming from Nuevo Vallarta.
Wow.
So that's good news because
you're spreading out, aren't you?
Exactly. The festival and the people is talking about the festival all what we are doing during the last years when I started in 2015 with this project. Well, that's we're working hard to make it real.
Yeah. Oh, you guys are really making it real. So let's talk about the different restaurants that are coming. You got some new ones coming you want to talk to us about?
Sure, we're having like for example, Patita Salada. Patita Salada is it's a very local restaurant, which is behind the Macro Plaza in the Avenida Las Torres. That's the place where is this little restaurant. It's barely new. They have just like 1 year since they opened. And very interesting, I was there like 2 days ago. I was having lunch with the owner, with Lupita, the owner. And I took some very good pictures from the tostadas they give me. They have very good aguachile with chile piquin. This kind of is more a little bit from the north of the country. This kind of recipe, let's say. But it's amazing. There's another restaurant, new restaurant, La Cava. And they're going to bring a passion fruit aguachile.
Really?
Say, it's gonna be amazing. I tried it the other day also. It's very good, very tasty. It's perfect for Puerto Vallarta. It's like tropical feeling in your mouth. I don't know. I don't know. There's many people that's coming with some new recipes. They are mixing like oysters, octopus, shrimp, mussels. Sometimes they have mussels. Fish, of course, for the ceviches. So it's getting very interesting. All these new restaurants they're gonna bring and they're gonna show us some new flavors and mixes for ceviches and aguachiles.
All right, cool. All right, so where is this event going to take place?
It's gonna take place at the Lazaro Cardenas Park, right in the romantic area, Old Town. And now it's also like the Tail Park. You know, all these people, they are doing a very nice artwork.
Yeah,
all
Tile Park
based by
PV.
Tile Park, exactly. So Lazaro Cardenas Park, the Tile Park, as is very well known at the last month.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the festival. We start at 12 noon and we finish at 7 p.m. So we have all the evening. You have all the evening to come with us, take a look. We're going to have special prices. Every restaurant who's coming to the festival is going to bring around like 4 or 5 different kind of ceviches and aguachiles. Everything very fresh, natural ingredients. And of course, everybody will have some special prices. It will be a promotional price, lower than the restaurants. So that's the idea. So you can come up and try a little bit from all the restaurants. And very important to mention, we're going to have also the contest to decide who has the best ceviche in Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, this is going to be tough, isn't it?
It's going to be tough, guys.
How are you going to do it?
It's we do like the popular, I say by popular demand.
By votes, right?
By votes, see.
Way to go. All right,
Exactly.
Great idea. All right, so we're sitting here over in a beautiful place here. We're at Rio Barbecue, and we are listening to one of the bands that's going to be playing at the Aguachile Festival. So tell us about the music that's coming.
Sure, regarding the musical part, we're going to have 4 different shows. We start at 12 o'clock with Los Zarapes de Zacatecas. It's a Mexican local band, Mexican music. Then 3 o'clock, we're going to have The Others. It's a rock band. And at 5 o'clock, we're going to have actually this band is in the background, La Tres Cuartos rock band. They are going to play at 5 p.m. And to finish the festival, we have at 6 p.m. Polynesian dance with Lani, Ale, Kau, y Luna. It's a Polynesian dance school from Puerto Vallarta. And they will close the event with some nice folkloric dance from the Polynesia. And it's very interesting because the Polynesia has a lot of influence in the Mexican Pacific.
Really?
Because of the food, everything. Actually, ceviche, the main recipe, like to cook the seafood on lemon juice, orange, all the citrus juices, it comes from the Polynesia.
Wow.
Back in the centuries ago, in the long travels, when the people from there used to travel to this part of the continent, that's what they eat, no? Raw food, seafood, cook it on the citrus lemon.
Wow,
citrus
well, how lucky
juices.
for us and how lucky for Mexico that the Polynesians came and brought ceviche with them, right? And the aguachile idea with them, right? The cooking the idea of cooking using citrus. Very interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, people, they say the original recipe from ceviche comes from Peru.
Huh?
So can you imagine? We have the same influence than Peru. It's thousands kilometers to the south.
Yeah.
But so people from Asia, they were traveling in centuries ago to all the Pacific from America, no? It's very interesting.
Food and history. Incredible. Look at that.
Exactly.
And geography.
Food.
Listen to this, you guys.
It's totally amazing. And, we're going to have also craft beer to do the perfect match with the seafood we're going to have. So we're going to have 3 breweries coming from Guadalajara City. Very interesting, the participation we're having this time. Because there's a Siete Mares brewery. There's also Libertad brewery and Euro Cervezas. It's all beers from Europe. Very good beers. I had the chance to drink it
Did
before.
you check it out to make sure it's okay?
I need to make
You know what?
quality
Here
control.
you are sacrificing for all of us. Thank you so much.
I need to do
appreciate
quality
that,
control for you guys too. Then you're right. Then you know what is going to happen in the festival.
Okay, exactly.
What you're gonna eat and what are you gonna drink. So I need to be sure, guys.
Okay, hear that? You go. Well, you just put yourself into a big situation now. Because now the pressure's on. It's got to be really good. Of course, it'll be good. All right, so you're going to have beer, you're going to have ceviche, you're going to have music, you're going to have dancing, you're going to have everything.
Everything for have a very special evening, a very good Sunday in Puerto Vallarta. We're having a very great weather at this time. It's getting warm. Last year it was a little bit fresh by night, but now it's getting.
It's not too cold at night.
No, it's feeling warm. To be honest,
yeah.
It's interesting. It's a good season for you guys to come. You still have chance for January the 27th, so you still have the chance to book your flights and come up with us.
And if you're in town, because I know a lot of you guys are here and you're listening to this show, so if you're in town, make sure you go and get to the Aguachile Festival. Excellent. All right, one more time. Give me the hours.
January 27th, Sunday at Lazaro Cardenas Park, starting at 12 o'clock, and we finish at 7 o'clock. We're going to have ceviche, aguachile, craft beer, raicilla cocktails, very important.
Nice.
Raicilla.
Oh, you almost dropped the raicilla.
You can meet raicilla if you're in Puerto Vallarta, of course.
Okay.
We're going to have some very good handmade cocktails with raicilla, all the live music shows, as you say. It's a free entrance, special prices in everything, food, drinks. We're also going to have like fresh cold water without alcohol, of course. Some desserts, ice cream, chips, snacks.
Oh, just make a whole day of it.
It's a whole day.
You don't have to leave.
Just walk, show up, take a look, and you will stay there for a couple of hours.
Excellent.
I'm sure.
Excellent. God, this is a great way to do it. If you're in town, don't miss it. And you can wrap things up here with the guys that we're listening to right now, Tres Cuartos. Edgar, thanks for coming in and talking with me today. I made you come all the way down here. I appreciate that.
It's a pleasure for me, Barry. Thanks for this the space to have the chance to tell all their listeners to come up to the festival. And guys, I hope to see you there and see you next Sunday, the 27th.
Excellent. And then pretty soon after that, we'll be talking about beer again, right?
Sure.
All right, we'll do that later.
There's always things in common, my friend. Some always good news, so stay tuned.
Thanks for what you're doing, brother. I really appreciate it. Good. Take care.
Thanks, Barry.
All right. Thank you, Edgar. Thanks for the ride. Thank you so much for doing the festival. We're all looking forward to that. You need to get on down there, you guys. Get down to the parque and partake in the food and the drink and the dancing, the good times, the raicilla, the beer, the ceviche. Catch the festival. And don't miss it. Once again, this Sunday afternoon. Now, just an update for our friend Salvador Estrada, the Candyman, the El Dulcero on the Malacan. We know him as the Marathon Man. Anyway, the man in the wheelchair is getting ready for the Puerto Vallarta Marathon, as well as the Mexico City Marathon, which is coming up, I think it's in August. And he was ill for about a week or so when I was in town. And then I finally got a chance to see him before I left. And he wanted me to let you all know how, well, he wanted me to thank all of you for the great support that you've given him so far, giving him donations and an attaboy and letting him know that you're behind him all the way for the Mexico City run. And he wants you all to know how touched he is at your generosity. So look, don't stop now, you guys. When you see Salvador, tell him good luck, drop him some cash, and let's hope that he has a great Puerto Vallarta marathon as well as the upcoming marathon. We'll talk about that as the date approaches. Also, Gabino Sandoval, the pull tab purse maker, is also doing much better. Thank you very much. He thanks you. I don't know if you remember or not, but he had a fire which caused some damage to his home. They left a candle burning on the Dia de los Muertos altar at home. Shame, shame, shame. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Don't do that. Don't leave open flames burning and just walk out of the house. Something bad will happen, and that's what happened to Gabino. Anyway, he tells me that all's fine, but I still want to encourage all of you, because they all say all is fine. Just make sure that when you see him, buy an extra purse or a belt or a handbag, and support him and his lovely family. Now, he has given up his table on the Malecon in the evenings. I was looking for him every night on the Malecon. I didn't see him, so he's just doing the farmer's market route. So you'll find him over there at the farmer's market over in Lazaro, Cardenas on Saturdays. And then, they do the whole circuit over in La Cruz and at the Marina and Nuevo Vallarta, Bucerias, all those markets. So look for him there. He's got a really cool booth now, kind of fancy, and he's got some great items. So make sure you go there, buy yourself a Gabino Sandoval masterpiece, okay? Now, I promised I would give you an overview of the two Airbnbs that I stayed at on the last trip. There was one on Playa Conchas Chinas that I stayed with 3 bedrooms with 3 couples. And then there was this one little one that I found for $22 a night downtown. But I'm going to get to those next week when I bring you the meet and greet number 2 from the rooftop at the bar at Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse. But for now, let's get on with the interview, shall we? I love to eat. I really do. And when I'm in Puerto Vallarta, that's something that I plan for. It's just my favorite thing to do here. And when I'm alone in Puerto Vallarta, gathering interviews and so forth, when I'm without my wife, you can almost always find me eating a taco over at a taco stand or at a little Cenaduria or a little fonda. I'm not into the big thing when I'm alone, but when I am with my wife, and especially if it's an important occasion, or maybe if we want to, show off the fine cuisine that Puerto Vallarta has to offer to some of our friends, then we head to Café Des Artistes. And Café Des Artistes it's not the kind of restaurant that you go to for a view, although the inside of the place is spectacular. It's beautiful, but it's not a view restaurant. You're not going to be seeing the bay when you're going there. Now, depending on the season, like in the heat of the summer months, you're going to find yourself eating in an enclosed, elegant kind of a dining area with plenty of air conditioning and just a beautiful, beautiful setting. And then during the cooler months, you will almost always find yourself in just what I would call a forest, in this beautiful fairy tale-like forest. You're surrounded by greenery, and you've got these tiers, these different levels of tables that are set up where the diners sit amongst the forest with the chirping crickets and a lovely violin player that... Now, this is an interesting thing. This is really cool. They have this violinist. He walks around he goes from table to table, and he asks for, suggestions of the kind of songs that you want to hear. And then he'll take the request, and then he'll play the first couple of notes. Like on that old TV show. I don't know if you remember, if you're as old as me, there was a show called Name That Tune, and they would pluck out like 3 or 4 notes, and then they would expect you to know the song. Well, that's what this violinist does, and then out of nowhere, this pianist starts to play the tune, and then the violinist takes off, and they are both playing together. And this is really, really a cool thing that they do there. Now, the piano is a beautiful piano. It is not the mystery piano. It's actually in like the bar lounge area, so it's all live music, and it's all so good. It's so romantic. It's so, Puerto Vallarta, you know what I mean? Now, on some occasions, they have this incredible harp player. He goes from table to table as well, just like the violin player does. And he plays and he sings the harp, and he sings his heart out, you guys. I mean, I really, really like this guy. In fact, as a matter of fact, when I was looking for a theme song for the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show, I actually went looking for this harp player. Seriously. Anyway, I just love the violinist, and I love the harp player. It is a wonderful, wonderful touch. And look, the main courses and the dishes, they're plated just so beautifully. But if you're going to be celebrating a special occasion, get ready for like these pyrotechnics. They have this like fireworks right in front of you, right in the middle of your table, It's just amazing. They build these, I guess you would call them like architectural masterpieces, these hand-poured candy lattice that sticks out of, cake or something. They know how to celebrate over at Café Des Artistes. And they really, really know how to make a plate of food look like a work of art. Can you guys tell that I love this place? I do. On this last visit, I was actually leaving after a fantastic dinner, and I asked my waiter if I could perhaps talk with Chef Thierry, and I gave him my card, and he disappeared, and he returned, and he said, "Hey, give the chef a couple minutes, and he'll be right with you." And he was. And so I introduced myself. I asked if he would come on the show with me, and he was just so nice. And he got out his phone and his calendar, and we made the appointment for the following week. And originally, we were scheduled for earlier in the afternoon, but as it turns out, we both needed to make a little adjustments in our time and in our schedules, and that put the interview at around 8 in the evening. I came to the door over at Café Des Artistes kind of looking like a homeless guy. If you've seen me around town doing interviews, then you know that I don't dress up. I dress down. And yeah, this evening I was really down. I mean, dressed down, I should say. But the man at the door, evidently he was on the lookout for me, and he escorted me through the restaurant to Thierry's office, where I set up my microphones. And then I had the most interesting conversation with somebody that you should know. If you are a lover of fine food and you go to Puerto Vallarta, then you will know him for sure. So let's meet Chef Thierry Blouet of Café Des Artistes, Puerto Vallarta, Tuna, Blanca, Punta de Mita, and Café Des Artistes del Mar in Los Cabos, Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Chef Thierry, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Great, very to be here today.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? And what was your path that led you here to Puerto Vallarta?
Well, originally I'm French. My mother is from Nice, my father from Paris. I was born, by the way, in Puerto Rico, where I never lived. And then with the job of my father, who used to be hotel managers since I was born. We traveled to Venezuela, where we live 7 years, where my sister was born. Then we lived in Spain for 1 year, then in south of France in Cannes for 1 year, then in New Caledonia
Oh my gosh.
in the South Pacific, lost in the nowhere for 2 years, then in Australia for another 2 years, then France for about 2 years, and Mexico. I arrived with my parents in Mexico 40 years ago. So that's the way we arrived to Mexico. And we love that country. And my parents, of course, decide to stay. And I decide also after high school, I could have gone, and I decide to stay in Mexico. So that's the way we arrived in Mexico a long time ago.
In DF? Did you go?
And the FA, yes,
Yeah.
in Mexico City, I did 3, 4, 5, the last 5 years with high school. And to Puerto Vallarta, I arrived around 31 years ago for one interview. And I never thought I was going to stay here. And when I discover after 2 days a little bit of Puerto Vallarta, I decide I want to do my life here and my dream here. And now I'm here now for more than 30 years.
Wow. Okay. So this was something that a lot of people experience when they come here. I mean, they fall in love and they decide pretty much almost immediately that they want to be here.
Oh, yes. After I remember I used to work in Camino Real hotels at that time in the 80s was the best hotel chain in all Mexico, very high end. And I was in Mexico City, then first in Ixtapa, Zihuatanejo, it was like my school, then Mexico City. And then from Mexico City, I had my first real job in that company. It was for chef at Camino Real here at the restaurant La Perla. That time was one of the best restaurants in Puerto Vallarta. And so they offered me this job, but I told them, I'm not ready. I have 22 or 23 years old. I want to travel. I want to learn more. I think it's not the good timing, but they really wanted me to have that job. And so I came for the interview, and I tell them, but don't lose money on the plane. I'm not going to take the job. And I remember I never been to Puerto Vallarta. At that time, I've been to Mazatlan, was the shortest from here, the nearest. Maybe, of course, Ixtapa, Acapulco, even Cancun, many different parts of the center of Mexico, also Veracruz. So I already traveled in the country, which I like so much. And when they told me Puerto Vallarta, I said, where Puerto Vallarta is? It's really so weird that in Mexico City at that time you never heard about Puerto Vallarta. It was something like a small city, maybe tourists come from other countries, from the United States, but it's not really a place to go. It was really strange. I never heard about Puerto Vallarta living in Mexico City. So when I arrived for the interview, I remember from the airport to the Camino Real, it was all the small streets we don't have anymore now. It was like, I think maybe it remember me when I used to live in the islands in the south, in New Caledonia. All these palm trees, the sea, I don't know, it was really, really strange. In my head, many things come together. And the next day, I had the interview. The next day, after 20 minutes of the interview, I signed for the job and I stay here. But it was really, and something really magic happened with the first contact of this city. To the city, I like very much all the forest. So here the tropical forest is so beautiful. The sea in the morning, it was in Conchas Chinas when I had breakfast for the first time. because the hotel was full, I remember. So first night I didn't stay in the hotel. I was guest, but they had to move me or to install me in the Conchas China's hotel. So my first breakfast was there at 9 o'clock or 8:30 a.m. And then I had the meeting at 10, I think. And I was looking at the sea, beautiful. I could see all the bay, and I was like, what I'm doing here, that's a paradise. And it was so easy to say yes. 2 weeks after, I came from Mexico City with my old car, one cage with 2 parrots, one un ventilador, one fan, and 2 suitcases. So that's the way I arrived here. The total adventure. And I did 2 years and a half at Camino Real. It was a big challenge for me to be in charge of all these restaurants, and I was the youngest of everybody, and but it was really, really fantastic. And then very quickly I could have the opportunity to travel on the low season here. So the manager likes me so much, and I told him, please, I never work I'm French, and I never been to France for working. And I had the chance, they sent me to a 2- and 3-star Michelin restaurant for the whole summer in the south of France, in Mougins, near Cannes, where the restaurant used to be Le Moulin de Mougins, and the chef used to be Roger Verger. He was a 3 Michelin star at that time. It doesn't exist anymore. And so for me, I was learning. And then the next year, in the low season, I could go to Chicago, to the Ritz-Carlton, to do 3 or 4 months, 4 months working in the Ritz-Carlton cuisines. And it was really a great experience. So really, I start working and learning in Mexico. And I never been to school. I never been to cooking school. I just did high school, and everything I do now and I learn from scratch.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I was going to be my next question is like, well, why did they hire you? They hire you because of your French accent? I mean, what's the deal? And it kind of basically, right. You knew how to cook. I mean, right? I mean, or did you? I mean, what was when you were in Mexico City? Were you working restaurants? Is that what you were up to?
Yeah, Mexico City. I was in the same company, and they were. It was for me like school. It was a trainee to train me to be a chef in the same company. But the trainee used to be for 2 years, and I asked them for another 2 years because I start very, very young. Normally, I should have started like at 22 after going to a cooking school or tourism hotel school, which I didn't. And but I like so much what I was doing that they see a lot of potential in me, and so that's the way it happened, and very, very interesting.
Wow,
very interesting.
Well, what a great opportunity. So that ended eventually, and what happened after that?
After that, my dream was to stay in Puerto Vallarta. The hotel was very interesting, but doing all my life in the hotel industry was not my dream. My dream was what I'm living now, to have my own restaurant. I remember when I was 8 years old, maybe 7, in Normandy, where the family of my father is, in France. I was in the woods with my sister, and then I built like a restaurant with piece of wood, trunks of wood, and I tell her, look, this is going to be my restaurant. And when the wind was blowing, many, it was maybe in September, October, all the leaves of the trees were falling down. So I tell her, all these leaves that falling down are the customers arriving to the restaurant. And I remember that part. And then I remember my mother, my father around coming to see what we were doing. but I had this idea, and then living in restaurants, in hotels, in all my life. At that time, with my parents, we used to live in the hotel, in one suite. So we always in contact with the hotel business, in contact with clients, in going a lot to restaurants. So for me, it was like very natural. My grandfather, the father of my father, used to be the general manager for Georges V in Paris, a very famous hotel, which now has been now it's part of Four Seasons hotels. And this hotel, he was the manager for 35 years. And then in Chicago for the best hotel of Chicago, in New York, and then he was corporate for all intercontinental hotels. He was also at the Société de Bains de Mer de Monaco. This is for the Principauté de Monaco, for the prince. He was in charge for all the restaurants, all the bars, all the ballrooms, so the very famous places like Hôtel de Paris in Monaco, the big casino, all these places, he was in charge of them. So he had a fantastic experience in the very luxury hotel business in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s until maybe the 70s. And so we all these stories are part of me, and I always like this part of the food, but also the service, the luxury service. And something I always thought is I like all this, but I don't want to be an hotel manager. I want to be the owner of the hotel, or I want to create. I love to create. Before starting in the cooking, cooking was my hobby. And at high school in DFA in Mexico City, I wanted to study designer, then landscape design. Before that, I wanted to study economy in one moment, agronomy, and then I said, "Oh, I'm going to go with my hobby, which is cooking." And now my hobbies are all these things I was thinking to do. I'm the designer of all my business. Now I have 3 restaurants. Café Des Artistes took 20 years to build.
Wow.
The way you see Café Des Artistes now took 20 years.
Wow.
I start from scratch. It was a small society with some investors. Used to be at that time the owners of Le Bistro restaurant. That was the best business in Vallarta and one of the most famous places for jazz, for music,
Sure,
for
I remember
ambiance.
that.
And then all this is finished. But I start with them, and then I could rent this place from them. But Café Des Artistes used to be only a small square.
Yeah.
It was maybe 20% of what you see now. And then I could rent it. It was very tough because all the money I made in 1 year was to pay the rent. And then very difficult, but I could buy that piece from them. And it took years because nobody loaned money to me, and banks either, because I had no lands, no houses, nothing. So it was a very long process. I remember I had to loan money up to 35% interest.
Wow.
Because nobody will. So it was really crazy.
Guido, yeah.
Sometimes I couldn't pay. I almost lose everything several times. A long story. But after 10 years, I could rent all the other land around Café Des Artistes, and slowly I could buy, and slowly I could build and rebuild on top of it. And now what we have took me 20 years to do. And now we this year we have 28 years with Café Des Artistes. This year in December will be 29, and next year will be the 30 anniversary. So I would like that everybody who is fan of Vallarta and of Café Des Artistes end of December for the 30th anniversary. We really want everybody here.
Oh, you know that when that happens,
We'll
you'll
do a
let me
huge,
know, and
we'll do a huge party.
yeah, when that happens, I'll let everybody know. So
And
they'll come.
and I'm going to renew all the restaurants. I have a huge project. Many people told me, but why if you have a place that is already beautiful and it's successful, and it's my passion and it's my dream. So when something is finished after years, you can, or you lose the interest, or it could the quality. I don't know. For me, a place that is going to live very long needs to be all the time reinvented. Even if it looks nice, maybe then it will looks better. Maybe not. I hope yes, but you need to have a lot of action, to renew, to refresh. It's good for you. It's good for your clients. It's good for all the people who works with you, because it's a big motivation. And so for the next year, I'm working now 2 years on the project, and we're going to rebuild the restaurants around the garden.
Oh.
All the rest. It's a huge project.
Wow.
And then my other restaurant is in Punta Mita. It's called Tuna Blanca. I started this project 11 years ago because I love the sea. And Punta Mita is a place who was growing, and it was like an opportunity that started very small. And then I said, okay, I'll try. And then after years and years of good moments, bad years, we decide to not to keep going this restaurant, and now we could keep the restaurant for us, and it's a big challenge, but now Tuna Blanca is good. But it took Tuna Blanca 10 years to define, and to also to be the owners of that place, that we were only renters, and the rent was crazy. So this restaurant many years ago was not going to keep going. But now we are very happy because I could make it happen, and Tuna Blanca is doing quite well, and it's a very nice spot on the beach that our clients enjoy very, very much. And the last one I opened 3 years ago is in Cabo San Lucas. Is a first franchise I do. The owners are the owners of the GW Marriott in Los Cabos, and they love Café Des Artistes, and they really want to have a Café Des Artistes in the hotel. And so it took 2 years the hotel to build, and the restaurant, I designed all the restaurants with a young architect company of Guadalajara, good friend of mine, and I work with them in every detail. And that's part of my passion, to design a restaurant, to do a concept, to inaugurate a restaurant, to do teams for the kitchen, teams for the service, to do the marketing, to organize happenings and events in all the restaurants all the time.
Well, yeah.
So that's for me, it's fun.
It's a challenge, right? It's something
It's a challenge.
different.
It's a challenge to invent and to redo every year. This year, what we're going to do for this place, for the other place, for that place, and how we're going to reinvest, what we have to do here and then the other one, and we have to be careful because we had very bad years 5 years ago. I lose a big project. I invest all the money we could have earned in 10 years in Peninsula. It was a steakhouse years ago called Thierry's Prime Steakhouse, where we used to sell prime rib, the only place in Vallarta where you could have different size of prime rib. But we're not going to talk about that restaurant because it's not here anymore.
Right.
The plaza never worked. The loans with the bank were too high. It didn't work at that time. And for me, it's when you decide to do business on your own, and you're not working anymore for a company or for someone, you have to take big risk. And in the big risk, many times things don't happen the way you wish, but you need to learn very quickly on them. So sometimes you have very expensive experience or very expensive learnings, and but that's part of working by your own. No? That's part of the challenge. That's part. So you like it or you don't like it, but I decide that's what I want to do, and but I'm very happy of what I'm doing, what I learning, what we teach. Now in almost 30 years, we have plenty chefs in all the country that start here. Café Des Artistes is like a school. Is one of the restaurants very known in all Mexico, not only in Vallarta. And cooks from here, they are very proud to work here, and then they go to another part, and now they
and
get
then you
more,
lose them.
They get more money.
They
and
go away.
and many of them make their own business and are successful. So it's like a big school, and I like it very much.
Yeah, you're like the proud papa saying, "Go, spread your wings and go off somewhere." Right?
Yes. Now, yes. I remember years ago. No,
You were mad.
People and mad because everybody steal you employees and you cooks and you chefs and But now not anymore. You have to understand that when you don't care of this, you have a good team, people are happy, and people normally they stay. And if everybody starts going from you, something is wrong with you.
Correct.
So, and also you have to understand that people they are with you for a timing, and they are getting ready for another part of their life. So now what I do is I help them to go further on their life and do whatever they want to do and push them to do it, or with me or with another. And that makes things totally different.
Yeah, a totally different experience with your employees.
Yes, because also you push them to be successful, either with you or if they work by their own.
Yeah.
So is like we talking early, like we like to help this association, Corazón de Niña. We like to help many associations. I like to help cooks to push them to go to other countries, and so that's I think it's very important in life. We receive so much from life that we have to understand that it's very important to give also. No?
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's a great relationship you have with your employees.
It is. Yeah.
All right, let's talk just a little bit about your menu, because some of my listeners have never been here. They've never tried your cuisine. Tell me a little bit about that.
So the menu is really the style of the menu is more around a French cuisine, which that's what I learned first, and it's a lot of combination of what I am. I am French and I am Mexican now. I have also. My wife is Mexican from one of the most beautiful places in Mexico after Puerto Vallarta,
of course,
called Zacatecas, which is the most beautiful mining city or Spanish city in all Mexico, much more beautiful than Guanajuato or Querétaro. And that's a place not many people know, and it's an amazing place. And then we'll do a special program in Zacatecas. That will be fun.
Good. All right, I'm there.
But my inspiration is between the Mexican flavors, which I love, and my cuisine. The base of my cuisine and the techniques of my cuisine are French cuisine. But mix, it's not a fusion. It's more French cuisine with Mexican ingredients and local ingredients. I like to have all the fish we can have from here, the organic vegetable not too far from here, but also we bring from different parts of Mexico very nice ingredients we cannot find here and that we would like to enjoy them. And so my cuisine, what I like that you try is maybe to have tasting menu. Tasting menu is very interesting, not for every day, of course, but once, sometimes. You have a 6-course menu with small portions and with wine tasting. Each plate is like little less than half a portion, and you have like also less than half a glass of wine with each one, a different wine. So you try different wines, you try a good selection of our menu, and I think that's a very beautiful experience. One of the dish we have in the menu, but also we have menu, early bird menu, but now we changed the name. It's the bistro menu, which is a way less expensive menu, which is you have a menu with 3 courses, but you choose for the first course you have 3 options. For the main course, 3 or 4 options, and for the dessert, 3 or 4 options to choose off. So, and what you pay maybe for expensive main course, you have a 3-course menu. There's maybe 20 to 35% less to have that menu, and I think it's a very, very good, very interesting when you have a party or a family and you want to know what you're going to spend, you don't want to overspend. So the bistro menu is available now every day of the year. It's at the end of the menu, so you don't see it at first. But that's a good deal.
Yeah,
that's a
so
good
that's
deal.
it's not any particular hour. It's just any time.
Anytime.
Okay.
Last year it was only from 6 to 7:30 p.m., but now we decide to have it anytime, because also Mexican clienteles like to have that menu, and they don't like to come for dinner at 6 o'clock. So I decide this menu is available for everybody. And also we have a vegetarian menu, which I like very much. It's a 4-course menu and also a 5-course menu, only vegetarian. And we could do also vegan menu on request.
Okay.
We used to have a vegan menu, but we sell so little that, but we have the vegan menu available every day also.
Right. Just in case.
Just
you get
in
one of
case.
those troublemakers in here.
But it's
I know.
It's no problem.
I like teasing my vegan and vegetarian listeners. It's just something I have.
And I did a vegan and vegetarian festival 3 years ago, because it's so interesting in that type of cuisine. If you want to do something really nice, you really have to think different, and you find so many incredible things, because it's not only beef, poultry, 3 types of fish, shrimps, lobster that everybody used to have all the time. You need to look many new things that you're not used to. So it makes like an investigation, and for a chef like me that are very creative, it makes you more creative, and so I like it so much. So if you are a vegetarian and you want to have a nice experience, let me know, because I'm really happy to do it.
Chef Thierry wants a challenge, so come on down.
But the items we use here as the first course we sell a lot is a cream soup, which is a soup of prawn and pumpkin. This is the only dish I have since I opened the restaurant. Now it's going to be 29 years. This soup that is served from the pumpkin to the table. So it's pumpkin and prawns. We have like a gourmet taco which is made with piglet, confit, and with a Mexican sauce, but it's not really spicy. It's very tasty. And these tacos de lechon are served like a first course. We have a beautiful organic tomato salads with like 5 or 6 types of tomatoes, with pistachio, vinaigrette, with a brioche, with another tomato preparation, and a fresh mozzarella cheese. So I like very much. This is very tomato and mozzarella you see everywhere, but this one is very special. Now very special tomatoes, very nice cheese, and so we have very classic items, but with very high quality product. Now the fish, we have a beautiful tuna. Some days if there is no fresh tuna, so we have no tuna that day. We don't want to buy the frozen tuna from Asia. That's like a pink one that you see many places, which is a very cheap fish and no good quality. We don't want to buy the frozen fish you see at the supermarket. So we work with fresh mahi-mahi, fresh red snapper. For the catch of the day, is depending the fish of the day. So now a lot of mahi-mahi. I like mahi-mahi, but we have to be careful to cook it, not overcook. That's a very nice fish if you don't cook it too much. Snapper here is very good, of course. We have sometimes robalo, which is a kind of Mexican sea bass that come from San Blas, north, but not too long, like 2-3 hours from here. The shrimps we have, they come also from Mazatlan or from San Blas also. Sometimes we have lobster from Punta Mita. I like salmon, which is not from here. That's the only fish we use sometimes. Fresh salmon from Canada, but because I like that fish, but it's not like what we sell a lot. And sometimes I bring from Ensenada, where you have the best seafood of all Mexico, fresh oysters, fresh mussels, fresh clams, and sometimes fresh groupers from Ensenada, sometimes. Then we fly them by plane. They arrive here same day, and the next 3 days it's all gone. So that's what I like to try to find nice products. Now the tuna, for example, we just seared tuna with peanut crust and avocado, very very light, foamy cream. We have some garlic, little bit chili oil, some baby vegetables like sometimes we have different types of carrots, very small carrots, different colors, and they are also different taste. Or the beets, we have dishes where we have different types of beets. And for the beef, we use the American beef. The quality is high choice and prime. I know it's so expensive down here, so that's why on the menu, if you want a good prime filet, you'll see, it's quite expensive. Yes, it is, but the quality of that beef, you'll be very happy. It's like if you go in the United States in a very nice steakhouse, and you will pay $35, $40, $45 for a very nice steak.
Try 50. Try 55.
55. So here, maybe for 40, you will have exactly the same filet and maybe better.
Yeah.
So we have this type of beef, and but not all the dishes are beef. Of course, we have sometimes we have duck. Now we have a small baby chicken that are totally organic, cook very slow cooking, and then roast, and then with lettuce and tarragon and herb sauce, then some sauté mushrooms and confit garlic, and the eggplant, which is cooked in miso with a miso paste on top. So all this mix is quite delicate, interesting. And for the desserts, we have the desserts are really French, almost all of them, very classic patisserie, but very, very nice, high level. We use the best chocolate, like Valrhona, or chocolate from Belgium chocolate, like Cabo. We have also all the best ingredients to do the desserts. I send my pastry chefs to cooking classes often. I like pastry. I buy a lot of books. We do some searching all the time. We are known to have beautiful desserts here. Maybe one of the places you can find the best desserts. And you can come, for example, to our bar, the Peyote Bar. We have a beautiful variety of mezcales and tequilas, of course. We have a big cocktail selection. We do all the classic margaritas with any tequila you want, but you can try new things, like new cocktails. We have like 20 cocktails maybe you never try, and it's very interesting. You can come to the bar also and just have desserts. We have people, they come, or they ask, can I come just for it? Of course, come. And the bar, you can have desserts, you can have dinner. We have live music every day at the bar. We have piano and violin, beautiful. We have harpist, which is fantastic Mexican harpist. We have also a classic piano on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, which is very interesting too. I like very much ambience. For me, to go to a restaurant is not only to eat, it's to have a very good time. And Café des Artistes was built around emotions. Every part of the restaurant are different sensations. Of course, the garden, which is from the 1st of November to the end of May, everybody wants to have dinner in the garden. It was a beautiful garden with huge bamboos, trees, like if you were in a rainforest that I built 25 years ago. But the big trees, many of them used to be already there. This was a part of this land was part of the forest, and the city grew around the forest, and so we have several trees that are from the forest and they're still alive, and I built around that and trying to keep all the trees.
It's remarkable. It's just incredible.
And then the inside is an old house, which is another ambiance. The bar is another ambiance. The cocina de autor is another ambiance. The table du chef is a place with a very old house with adobe walls that we find behind normal walls. We were going to put down all this house, and we discover this old 150 years house. And I built, first it was a cigar room 15 years ago, and now that cigars are not anymore very, very popular, so we changed that space to the table du chef. Or if you come for your birthday and you have a party of 8 up to 14 in a private room with many candles, that's a beautiful place to be. We have a private terrace for a table from 10 to 26, a party of 26 in one table under the trees. It's a beautiful space also. And in the same garden, we have different spaces. One are very private, some of them not so private. So you have different ambience. You have for me, the music is very important. The lighting is very important. The clean, everything has to be clean. We have during the day supervision to have all the standards of clean, like you have in the United States. Here is the Sistema H, that you have to supervise that everything, when the products arrive from the fruits or the fish or whatever, you need to change them to new plastic box that has been sanitized. So the way we are working is really, I'm always looking that we do the best, because in Mexico you don't find everything so clean everywhere, no? And we have to do it.
Yeah.
And for me, it's very important. It's part of the success of the restaurant, is that mix of the ambience, of course, the menu, the service. We train the service, the waiters. Many of them have many years with us, others just starting. But we work very hard with them to really, they all do the best to make a great experience for you. It's not like a waiter that come from a hotel is working here. And, no, it's all a school behind it, and we work a lot. So they're very happy to make a special experience to everybody who comes to Café Des Artistes. At least we that's what we want to do. We are doing, and we try to do, no? And to improve day by day. So the cuisine, the service, the atmosphere, the ambience, of course the wine list. We have very interesting wine list, and all the clean to work in a clean restaurant. All this mix is very important to have a successful and different restaurant, totally different restaurant.
Right. All right. Let's go away from the restaurant just for a minute, and let's just walk outside, and let's go into Puerto Vallarta. If you were going to go out and have breakfast, where would you go?
Well, I remember with my kids, we use, now I don't go often for breakfast. I like to have my coffee, my green juice at home, and some eggs, or
he's
just
healthy. He's just a healthy guy.
or just a piece of bread with honey. But I'm not very going out for breakfast. But in the Calle Basilio Badio, there are two very nice places. One is the pancake house, no, the classic one, who is here for more than 20 years or maybe
longer than that. I've been coming here for 34 years, and he was there when I was there. So,
right. And the lady now is keep going.
Yes,
business,
yeah. Memo passed on, and
yes.
So the lady, I guess.
So that place for me is a lot of good memories, and I used to go sometimes Sunday with my kids, and they love these pancakes and waffles and a lot of fruits, and the place always full. And the other is 2 blocks from there in the same street that I didn't go for 2 years, but I went like 3 weeks ago. It was totally packed.
Freddy's Toucan.
Freddy's Toucan, yeah. This I think is the most popular breakfast restaurant in Puerto Vallarta, Freddy's Toucan. The service is so wonderful, and they're always checking what you need, and that's a good place. But also in the street behind Café Des Artistes in Matamoros, at 11 o'clock in the morning, you can go to the Tacos de Birria. There is a big line all the time. They are really amazing tacos. It's only in the morning. Tacos de Birria in Mexico is not for dinner. It's not for lunch. They call the almuerzo because they didn't have time to have breakfast, or it's between breakfast and lunch. And almuerzo is like between 11 and 12 o'clock. So it's in the Calle Matamoros corner with Calle Allende. And Tacos de Birria from Alex. And this is a place for breakfast. Well, this is like Mexican breakfast. That's not the orange juice and the coffee and the scrambled eggs. But that's interesting when you walk in the city and maybe you already had breakfast. Try one of these tacos. So then you have to choose between the soft tortilla or the crisp tortilla. Both are very good. And then you need to have el jugo de birria. In a plastic glass, they will serve you the juice where the beef cook. The beef cook like in a stew. And then they give you some juice of that stew and you drink it. And you put some cilantro, onion, chili if you want, little bit of lime juice. It's wonderful.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's a great choice.
Another place for tacos I like very much that you must know also is the Tacos de Pescado Marisma, but the one of Calle Naranjo. The one of La Marina I don't like because the ambience in the street, that's the first one where they live, the owners, and it's Calle Naranjo, just before when you go out in the first tunnel, at Calle Naranjo. And Tacos Marisma. So you have fish tacos. They fry the fresh mahi-mahi normally in like in a very light paste, fry, and then it goes in a taco, handmade taco. You see in front of you, they do the tortillas, and then like a lettuce, but it's not lettuce, it's cabbage. And then you put a green avocado sauce, which is not spicy. It's only avocado, garlic, and cilantro mixed together. It's so good. And then you choose one of the red spicy sauce and just put just a little bit and a little bit of lime. And it's a banquet. So they're the fish taco and the shrimp taco. And then they have 3 or 4 stew, like marlin, crab, jaiba, kind of the crab from here, and a third one they change. But this is a good place for not for breakfast, but like for quick lunch on the way, like this. Which I like. You discover in Puerto Vallarta and in many places of Mexico you go, when you know the good place to go in the street food, it's so good and it's so cheap at the same time. But it's so good, it's healthy, it's well done, good quality, and the ambience is amazing. Amazing ambience.
Yeah.
And you have music in the street sometimes, you have happenings all the time. That's what makes Mexico so fantastic country.
Exactly. Wow. All right. You did talk about Marisma because now we're moving into the lunch section. You got another lunch place you want to share with us that you like?
What the fuck?
Or you're just into the tacos? Is that what's going on here?
I like to go to the tacos for lunch. On the beach, there is a place which is doing quite well and locals go, called Barracuda, which is not fancy, always full. To go and have a swim to the beach, why not? And so Barracuda, now they're doing Barracuda in San Pancho, doing Barracuda in different parts of the bay because they are very successful. It's good for seafood. For seafood at lunch, for seafood cocktails, very nice, very known place at La Marina. Of course, Ocho Tostadas. I knew them when they start in La Colonia Versalles with a very small stand in the street. Maybe you knew them 30 or 35 years ago.
No, I didn't know them 35 years ago, but I know them now, and they got a big place now in Versalles.
A big place. In Versalles. So in Versalles is one of the brothers, and the other one is the classic one of the cocktails in Marina. In Marina Vallarta, where not in Nima Bay, where the prime steakhouse is, but before that. It's Ocho Tostada Marina. And it's very, very, very popular. And then in Colonia Versailles, you have the other one. It's the other brother, which is very nice too. And they're doing a very, very good job. In not fancy places, but where you have good, interesting things to try. No?
Yeah, definitely. Good service too.
Good service too. And you have more fancy restaurant that I'm sure you already know. A good friend of mine, for example, La Palapa on Playa Los Muertos. That's a very nice setting. They have very nice menu, like El Dorado, the same owner, Alberto Perez. I think that's a place very interesting to spend a good time of the day. Not just you go for lunch or for brunch or for breakfast, and why not staying at the beach and enjoy your day. It's not a place to go and then quickly and go. It's like to enjoy. No? I think it's a place I like also to go. There are so many places I like to go.
Yeah, we could spend all day.
Yeah.
Now, if you had a place that you wanted to go for just a day and you were going to come back into town, where would you go?
Well, I'll go when it's summer. It's very hot here, and we see the sea every day. I will go in the mountains. You go to San Sebastián del Oeste. That's going like 200 years in the past. You arrive in a village. It used to be gold mines. Then it became a ghost village, and then now people came back to that village. It's in the middle of the of the very high in the mountains. Now there is a very good road, so you can get there in 1 hour and a half. Before that, when I went the first time, well, it was fantastic. It was 8 or 9 hours to get there.
Oh my gosh!
In the Las Guacas, and what a place! And this place, even to spend the night, and then you have some raicilla on the main square, and there are 2-3 nice restaurants, small boutique hotels, not too fancy. And in the morning early, you can go walking in the mountains. It's so near from here and so beautiful. And also on the beach, I like very much. You go to Boca de Tomatlan and you take a panga and you go, of course, to the most beautiful part of Puerto Vallarta is to go to this part that you only can go by boat. I remember the first time when I arrived here and I did that, I was like, oh my God. Now, when you go to Yelapa, it's a whole expedition to go to the Yelapa. Now with the water taxi, you have 40 people in a small boat. You don't know if it's going to sink or not. And it's the taxi going to an island. Huh? It's fantastic. So you go to Yelapa, and you have plenty small restaurants, and then the panga. 5 hours later, 6 hours later, you can come back to Puerto Vallarta and you will spend a fantastic day. This is much better than the going in a tour. No? This is like your own private tour. And you live with the people that do that. Quimixto is another beach which is before Yelapa. And there is a restaurant, this is my favorite, called Cocos, and the owner is Oscar and Martin. Martin is the father and Oscar is the son. And it's before where the big boats arrive in Quimixto. So you have to go to La Boca, where all the pangas goes to all these beaches. And then you ask, you want to go to Quimixto, but the restaurant of Martin or the restaurant of Oscar's. This is amazing, amazing, amazing. There is almost no people. They treat you fantastic, and because many of the beaches now they are too crowded. But now Martin is starting to have. If you go in New Year's or Christmas, or of course now many people go everywhere. But you go during the week, you will see not much people. What I do sometimes, I organize with some friends or with family, and I cook on the beach a big barbecue fish. Or I cook some lobsters, or I cook some shrimps, or whatever. And we go to the cascade to have a swim. It's like 30 minutes walking, if you like to walk in the mountain, or you can go by horse. And then I cook all this, and then I spend the rest of the day there. That's for me like a perfect day.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, the perfect day includes you working, though, cooking, though. I don't know about this.
But you need to go in this part of Vallarta, no? The Yelapa, the Quimixto, and after Yelapa, there is other places I don't know very much, but that it's nice to go. Maybe it's more than 1 hour boat, like Pisota. But this is more adventure, no? But there is a restaurant you can arrive, and also if you go on the other side of the bay, like going to Punta Mita, there are very nice places too, or to a small city like 1 hour and a half from here, San Pancho. San Pancho I like very, very much, going north, and Sayulita, but Sayulita is so crowded now; it's overcrowded. And San Pancho is starting to be a second Sayulita.
Yeah.
But the beach, to walk on that beach, to go in the small restaurants, many restaurants on the main city in San Pancho, it's interesting. And it's a nice, very different and nice place to go also.
Yeah, and a great day trip.
Yeah, a great day trip, yeah. Yeah.
If you had a word of advice to a first-time traveler to Puerto Vallarta, what would it be?
Word of advice.
Besides coming to Café Des Artistes, of
Besides of not to be afraid of the news you can hear from friends or from the country you're coming from. because when you see the news, you decide not to go anyway. So don't look at the news and come to Puerto Vallarta, and because it's really an amazing city, and people are very safe and we live very happy here, and we live in a safe place. So first advice: don't look at the news and come to PV.
Yeah, definitely.
And beside coming to Café Des Artistes or to Tuna Blanca in Punta Mita, I think there is so many to discover. So many. Puerto Vallarta is the place now where you have more options for restaurants after Mexico City. I organize now for 25 years a gourmet festival, which is the last week of November, which I organize with my friend Heinz Reise, which owns a restaurant called Coco Tropical in Basilio Badio, and we start this festival to promote Puerto Vallarta 25 years ago with the good cooking, with the gastronomy. And we decide to do just for 1 year, and we invite 8 restaurants and hotels, and very simple. And then another year, and now it's a huge program. We invite now every year 25 to 30 guest chefs from all around Mexico and around the world, and they cook in 25 to 30 different restaurants and hotels for 8 days. Normally, for that year, is the last week of November. You'll see in www.festivalgourmet.com what we did last year, and in 2 months, you'll have the program normally of that year. But this gourmet festival developed a lot, that everybody in Vallarta start with this guest chef every year, to cook new things, to go on with the restaurants, not doing always the same. And the growing of Vallarta, many new chefs came. So now Puerto Vallarta is a place where you can eat very well. So I think that's something important, where you go in a place where you have good food, even simple, not so expensive. You have all type, but you have good quality. In the most of them, you will see good quality in the restaurants in Puerto Vallarta. So I think that's a good point. And in Vallarta, you'll see very nice people. You'll see everywhere you go, you'll see people that will try to help you with a big smile. You'll feel that right away when you arrive to Puerto Vallarta. Big, very, very people from the heart. Huh?
Yeah.
I think that makes, and it's a city, very lively city. You have a lot of galleries, a lot of cultural things happening depending of the moment of the year. If you like the sea, I hope so, because you come here. You have one of the most beautiful bays. For example, from December through for March, you have all these whales coming. So you go to Punta Mita, you go in a small trip in these pangas for 2 hours, and you see plenty whales. That's a fantastic show. Huh? And dolphins and turtles. And that's, if you like fishing, that's really a good place for fishing. I recommend very much fishing starting from Punta Mita. Sometimes the good fishing is in like half an hour or 1 hour after Punta Mita. So when you start from Puerto Vallarta, you have to go 2 hours the boat to Punta Mita, then another hour. So maybe it could be too long. But if you go fishing from Punta Mita, you have a better fishing experience and not so long time maybe on the boat.
That's a good tip.
But fishing is a good in the bay. There are so many great things to do.
Definitely. Wow. Well, I think have we covered everything? I think we have. Have we not? Am I missing anything? Did I forget anything today?
No, you forgot that we need to have a drink. And I need to open a good bottle of tequila or mezcal or a good bottle of wine and to eat something because I'm starting to be thirsty.
Oh my gosh! Well, you folks know what that means. We're getting the heck out of here. Chef Thierry, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show and allowing me to introduce you and Café des Artistes and Grupo Café des Artistes to my listeners. I truly appreciate that.
I'm so happy to be with all of you and to be with you here today. And I hope that when you come at Café des Artistes, look for me. Sometimes I'm not here because I'm in another restaurant or maybe in a trip, but feel free to ask for Thierry, and I'll be very happy to meet all of you if I can.
All right, Chef Thierry. Gracias.
Gracias. Hasta la vista.
Wow. What a nice guy, right? And what a voice. Oh, the French. Oh, my good. Oui, oui. I have pictures of all of his restaurants, all three of the restaurants, even some beautiful food plates, so you can see what kind of beautiful things that are created at his three wonderful restaurants, but especially my favorite, of course, Café des Artistes. And what an amazing story, taking 20 years to get to where he wanted to get in that restaurant, from nothing to that beautiful, beautiful restaurant that he has. And, I can't wait. I can't wait for that 30th anniversary that's coming up pretty soon. And, well, according to him, he's going to tell us all about it. And when it does, I'm going to let you guys know as well. Okay, so I have pictures of all three restaurants, of course, of that beautiful food, like I said, and pictures of Chef Thierry. And, well, check it out. Go to www.puertovallartatravelshow.com, and you will see what I'm talking about. And do yourself a favor the next time you come to Puerto Vallarta. Make sure that you treat yourself to some fine dining, all right? Get off that taco wagon and experience some real fine dining. You will find yourself returning to Café des Artistes again and again and again on each visit that you make to paradise. I know I do. All right, well, this was a long episode, wasn't it? It was worth it, right? Well, don't you feel like you know the chef? I mean, I certainly do. No? Oui, of course. So, that should do it for this week's episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. Stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, just remember this is an interactive show where I depend on your suggestions and your questions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, well then please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him, right from his website. Remember, this is a value-for-value proposition, my friends. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to be using someone else, so do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, JR has got his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more on his brand new website. Links to all of those in the show notes, so check them out for sure. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe to it and give me a good review, if you would, on iTunes or wherever you happen to listen. That would be a great way to get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, come on, get over there, have a look. I have links to the places we talk about. I have interesting pictures and more right there in the blog post and in the show notes for for each episode of the show that I create. So check them out for sure, okay? All right. So thank you, Edgar Rivas from the Aguachile Ceviche Festival. Go there this Sunday and have a great time. Have yourself some great ceviche. And thanks to you, Chef Thierry Blouet from Café Des Artistes, Puerto Vallarta, Tuna, Blanca in Punta, Mita, and Café Des Artistes del Mar in Los Cabos, Cabos and Lucas. Listen, you guys, do yourself a favor. Get yourself over to one of those fine restaurants the next time you're in paradise. And hey, thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for all of you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino, perno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río, cuando todo está en calma, pronto cae la noche, brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta.